We'll call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals. Would you please stand for the pledge? Jared, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher.
Here.
Joe Crowell.
Here.
Jerry Sartain.
Present.
Joe Machado.
Here.
Michael Rather.
Here.
Jared Barrett.
Here.
Thane Cantrell.
Present.
All voting members are present. We do have a quorum.
Okay, all of our regular members are present and will be voting on each item before us. Before we get started, let me remind everyone that the Mitchell-Bowman proposal, which is a burrow pit, is deferred until next month. He has requested a deferral on that. The Dorsey Meeks, which is the boarding house and office area, is also requested to be deferred until next month. In case anyone's here for those two, they will not be on our agenda today, and you don't have to remain. You can ease out. You have the minutes before you now from last month. Are there any additions, corrections to the minutes? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move be approved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion that be approved?
I'll second it.
Have a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. They are approved. The first item we have is a request by Richard Reeves, which has to do with the Jefferson Pike project. And what do you have on that?
Thank you. Application 2013-47 involves the property located in the vicinity of 950 Jefferson Pike. It's a 215-acre parcel, and it's zoned residential medium density residential. They are requesting temporary special exception approval for a burrow pit with relief from the area requirements for burrow pits in the RM zone. And you're familiar with this particular property and the request. Last year in 2012-44, I believe that was the special exception number or conditional use number, they received approval to burrow or excavate soil from multiple areas from this property. And the length of that permit was for 9 months, and it was effective upon the issuance of the first land disturbance permit, which was January 29, 2013. And in July, they saw a 3-month administrative extension that's provided for in our regulations. And that 3-month extension will be is approaching expiration. And this application is simply to renew the permit. This is now a special exception. And they are committed to meeting all of the conditions that were established in the original permits. And we have posted 3 signs on the property. I received 2 informational calls on this particular request, and there was no indication of opposition or being in favor of the request. And this is the areas that are hatched in, are the areas that are will be excavated. They are excavating 5 acres at a time before proceeding to the next 5-acre site. And that concludes our presentation.
Okay, we have a request for the extension of this project. I'm going to ask their attorney to come around at this time. He has a few comments to make, and if you have any questions, I'm sure he will go into detail with it.
Ed Goodman of Murphy & Murphy. We represent Richard Reeves and his wife Joan Reeves in this request for their renewal. I've prepared a presentation, but I think everybody's pretty familiar with the project, so I'll just hit some of the highlights, and then if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to address those. This property is right next to the BFI property. It allows Mr. Reeves to sell clay to the landfill, which normally they are required to bring in across the public roads. What this does is it allows BFI to purchase this clay without taking it on the public roads. They would inevitably obtain the clay from another source, if not from Mr. Reeves. Mr. Reeves has got a number of safeguards in place to protect his neighbors from this project. He has got and he's made these commitments in writing, filed with the Planning Commission. Among those, there will not be any blasting during the project. There will not be any activities. The only activities will occur between the hours of sunset and dark, so only during daylight hours. Excuse me, between the hours of dawn and dark, so only during daylight hours. And in addition, there will be mud, dirt, and dust and air pollution controls in place throughout the project. So, and all borrow pits are set back at least 150 feet from all residential property lines, at least 50 feet from all other property lines.
From the information I've received on this, you fellows have taken care of everything that you said you would do, and so we get a good feedback from those people who are living out there. So I want to commend you for that, Richard, and continuing to do what you say you're going to do with this project. Any questions at this time? Thank you. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this. Close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion on it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like a motion be approved.
A motion to be approved.
A second.
Second. I'll call roll, please. Over here now.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Joe Machado,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Thane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
It is approved. The next item we have is a request by Demetrius Nelson, and this has to do with the establishment of event hall and the variance relief. And what do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2013-49 is a request for special exception approval for the establishment of an event hall with variance relief from the off-street parking requirements on the property located in the rural center zone. It's a 1.10 acre parcel. It's located along Church Street in the Christiana area, and it's zone rural center, which is considered a special character district for this community that has history and existing development that has history related to it. The applicant would like to use the existing structure that's on the property as an event hall, and they are seeking, as part of that request, approval to allow them to use an off-street parking area that is beyond 400 feet from the property. It is a paved site. They have approval or an agreement with the pastor of the church. I believe it's Believers Faith Fellowship Church. And they have a nice paved parking area that when it's not in use, they would be able to use that site for parking. And patrons of the event hall would be, they would have valet service available for that. And they will be providing some on-site parking, but for that on-site parking, they are asking relief from the gravel pavement requirements, and they would like to have a gravel surface for the parking areas on the site. And staff received no calls on this particular application. No one has indicated any opposition. And that was a photo of the parking lot that's further down the street. This was actually approved for another use last year for off-site parking area too. So it's a nice parking lot that's not used 24/7, and so it has been helpful for some of the other businesses. It's across, this subject property is across from Miller's Grocery, and you've got a mixture of commercial uses. You've got the volunteer fire station across the street. You have the post office next door, and some residential uses. And we posted a sign on the property, and that concludes our presentation.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. You'll give us your name and any information you have.
Demetrius Nelson, and I don't have anything else to add to that. She covered it thoroughly.
Well, we're pretty familiar with this project out here, and we hope that this helps with the festivals and other activities you have going on. You have questions? You don't have your microphone turned on.
Did you have permits to build a section on the rear of that house? Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion on it.
I move we approve it.
Have a motion to be approved.
Second.
Have a second. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Joe Machoto,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Dane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay, it is approved. Do we have anything else? That's it. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
11.